Hello everybody, welcome to another Primetime Funk mod. So, I have already built one Super OSD, and it's arguably called the V4 if you're buying it on certain North American sites like Handheld Legend, just to avoid confusion, and everywhere else it seems to be called the V3 Super OSD. So that is the slightly larger screen package. It uses the same RIPS board, but has a different PCB, and has the pixel mode, and can still change color palettes, all the things that the basic V3 did, but you can completely customize the color palettes. So I actually put one of these together already. This is my personal unit, and the one that I'm putting together tonight is actually gonna, I think the board from this is gonna end up in a different package, but I happened along thanks to my friend Curtis. He had an extra DMG shell that was in pretty rough shape, so I feel a little bit better about cutting in, because it'll be pretty sweet to see all these original color palettes and everything from the original DMG package. So I'm not sure what I'll end up doing yet, but I just kind of wanted to start when I was already a little bit into it, because I am currently just taking care of removing some of the extra screen space. Now, the normal DMG screen is 2.4 inches. This is a 2.6, as I so cleverly wrote on this one so as not to confuse it with others, because I have many screen lenses in my drawer. I just need to get more drawers. I've kind of got them all stuffed in there no matter what the model at the moment. So the main thing is that this is a bigger screen area because it uses like that new pixel screen and has more space to it. So we're going to be increasing our screen size, and also upgrading massively with the IPS outfit that we're going to be putting in this guy today. So I don't have all of the buttons and everything that I want, so I'm going to be using these concave black buttons. I know certain people who would barf at the thought, but these are the extra ones that I had on hand at the moment. My other ones are coming into shipment pretty shortly, and I'm sure I will post up a picture of the completely stock looking DMG as soon as I actually have it all sorted out. But for now, this is the build. So when doing this part, this is kind of what I wanted to do first, because it gets like the craft knife out of the way. The rest is really just going to be application and construction, which won't be a huge flaming deal. So with this, I went along with the craft knife. Again, the craft knife. This is an essential. I have other like really clunky ones like this guy here, but it was just enough to grip it that yeah, the pressure you have to put on, the precision of the craft knife is essential. So that is what I'm using. So I went through and I carefully mapped out with like one deep groove along each side how this was going to look, and then I just kept on going over the grooves. So I'm actually on the tail end of it now. You can see it's starting to go through in some areas, but this is pretty much it. Get yourself a good groove and then work within that groove until it is complete, and resist the urge to skip steps on this one, because it's pretty crucial that you just do the repetition so you don't end up gunking up and killing your whole shell by accident, because accidents can happen just like that. So I left the last bit. I may still speed this up for you, because it's not super thrilling, but doing it the right way with patience is the way that it's going to end up without regrets. In the end, you should have a nicely widened hole. I think that's more than enough room for what we need to do. And we don't really need to keep any of the rest of this, so I'm going to clean up my space a little bit. So we ask ourselves, what is the next step? Well, I have this board. That is a donor board that will work just fine. And we are going to be attaching it to this handy dandy back that's already actually been altered. So I cheated a little bit more. This has already been altered to put a LiPo battery pack in there that I do own. So what we need to do is we need to attach this back after putting in the power button. Okay, so now we have our backboard that is ready to go. This has been tested recently by a friend, so we should be okay with that. I am going to quickly grab the, I think, fully charged 2000 mAh clean juice battery pack from Handheld Legend and Retro 6. It's the funniest thing with the GBA version of these battery packs. I had nothing but trouble thus far with the GBA ones draining when they're not in use, but the DMG ones have been perfecto. So I've got a couple of these ones that I like keeping around for those particular reasons. So we'll be able to use that in a little bit in the back here. So I'm going to set those aside. Now we have our mostly fine work here. I just keep seeing uneven edges, but that could go on forever. So I'm not gonna do anything else with that. So again, we have our glass screen for OSD, and now we've got the gift pack that I just got from Handheld Legend today. Yes. Okay, they've already made some improvements to that bracket. That's really nice to see. And now here is our board, our ribbon cables, our PCB, and our RetroPixel screen. That is lovely. And there's some double-sided tape, which I'm probably not going to use because I got my own. So what we got here then is a situation where we need to put all this together. Now, we might as well just do it in order here. I'll save the gray one. Going with the black scheme for now, apparently, so I might as well go all in. The shutter concave buttons. I swear these are the ones that came with one of my shells. Travis is never gonna forgive me on that one. And then we've got our, I think these are actually original. Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are original rubbers. So we are going to get on with it here. So what we need in this case is we have this guy right here that just goes down. Ugh, that is not straight. That's probably me. Yeah, I'm used to it being me. There. Nope, that is not the case either. Yeah, I was definitely not nuts there. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Am I upside down? No, that, there's something very wrong there. Okay. Okay there. That is, for one, very crooked. You can see that that's not really fitting around the spots where it's supposed to be fitting. So there's a problem up the top there. that I can most likely fix with some flush cutters. So I'm probably gonna do that. Well, the only thing is that this guy's supposed to go in here like so. So is it actually gonna be sitting straight? Yeah, I will have to see, because it doesn't look like. Doesn't look like that's gonna fit nicely. There's a little bit of dodginess there. Okay, so my handy dandy flush cutters. These are one of the first tools that I ever bought for my modding, and desert island pick. If you were on an island and you had no other modding tools that you could bring with you, this is one of the most useful. So for example, I can just take care of this whole not quite fitting around the post issue that the bracket was having. Let's do another favor here. We're just gonna make that tab just a wee bit smaller, because it was getting in the way. So, fitting stuff beforehand. A few notes about fitting stuff beforehand. It's a good idea. That's about the extent of my notes on fitting stuff beforehand, because that would have been an unfortunate surprise to have later, and there we go. So the rest of it works. There was just this one little bit at the top that wasn't aligned properly, and then we were going to have all of our buttons fall out because I suck, and then we're going to have a working fitting bracket. So that's good to see. So even with the bracket on, it's probably pretty wise to be gentle with that. But now that we know the bracket is toy like a toiga, pardon me, I'm going to double side tape this one down so the bracket and the retropixel screen are henceforth one uninterrupted piece. So just some simple double-sided tape. Use the 3M, nobody's feelings get hurt, and you actually have a chance of taking it off later. That's right, I put it on a diagonal. I'm an anarchist. I realized that saying that on camera right then just put me on a watch list somewhere, but context, people. There we go. Now again, after we're all said and done, I'm going to be very, very happy about the results of this. I'm going to realize that I have not taken this screen protector off. I don't know if there's honestly anything we can do about that. That is just a mistake I make every single dang time. And until I learn my lesson, I don't know if there's anything that can be done. So, the other thing we're going to do, if we're to prep wisely, is we need to actually fit the PCB and this retropixel screen together. So they left this nice tab here, because this is generally like a good bracket. It's not like slightly bendy like the last one I got. So I'm gonna focus in for once finally. So you've got the outie part and the innie part. Those are the technical terms. We need to fit these together very gently and then lay the PCB flat once we do. There we go, like a glove. And then we will want to, instead of having this guy rolling around, use another piece of our miracle double-sided tape. Again, don't get too crazy with it, because you might need to take off that double-sided tape later, and it could be a big old mess. And since there is plastic in between the the metal screen on the back of this. You don't actually have to put any sort of Captain tape on there. That's why this design is kind of awesome. But some of the other ones, you pretty much have to like use up half a roll of Captain tape, just covering everything. And well, it works. It's kind of nice when they just factor that into the design of these things, because they know how they're supposed to be. I just peeled that whole thing off. There we go. Hot dog fingers. What did I say? Right at the very beginning. There we go. I probably want to put that down pretty straight, because later that will be getting some play. We'll be using that, clearly. Okay, so we have our screen assembly put together. I'm absolutely going to forget to take that screen protector off later, but as we've established, that's an inevitability. So, back it up a little bit here. Once more. We're going to set that screen aside. And now we have the replacement PCB. This is a wonder of modern engineering. The only downside being this amazing LED light that they have on here, which is so bright it is like the eye of Sauron in a dark room. My solution to that was on my other ones. So you've got the lens is going to be covering this. So I actually took a little bit of clear duct tape and stuffed it into this hole so it would diffuse the light a little bit, and I'm probably honestly going to do that again. Because otherwise you just cannot use the thing in a dark room. You can dim the screen all you want, but that laser sight coming out of there makes you feel like you're going to be taken out at any given time. So we will put the buttons back together, because yeah, I just dumped them all out like I knew I would too. That's just another one of those inevitabilities. I will fit these on and then have them pop off any number of times, because that's apparently how I roll. And again, this is not going to be my forever button scheme. I have got some straight up standard DMG buttons coming, which is how I want it to look. And I could have frankly robbed them off of another model that I have over there, but I might still. We'll see how I feel. So we have now, crap, okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to do this thing. I have to do it sooner or later, right? Okay, so it is stuck down, and we know that the bracket fits in all the ways that count already. So we can push it down. I just love that there's no foam tape involved here, which means that you have to like risk breaking it every time you need to make an adjustment or take it apart. So there we go. And I did remember to take off the screen protector. How about that? Now, one thing I just noticed is that I do not have a speaker. Now I have an extra DMG speaker that I'm going to be installing on here. Again, courtesy of my buddy Curtis, who donated the shell and also the back PCB. So Curtis has a pretty good sideline locally where people just seek him out to sell him their old Game Boys, because he is a whiz at backlighting and biverting, and it's sort of the first person that I got talking to when I went to start on this hobby. So Curtis knows what he's doing. Now, I am probably going to save you guys having to watch me install this this speaker, because it's just soldering for dummies, and that isn't really the point of this video. So I'll be back in a sec. Well, as promised, I didn't make you sit through that whole thing. So now we have a soldered on speaker, and we've got our board. I added the ribbon cable on there as well. secured that, and then we'll be able to put that together shortly. And also, because I happen to have the camera turned off anyways, and because time is a construct, everything means nothing, and yes. Okay, so we're going to, now, I know technically they don't say that it is 100% needed, but I would be remiss if I didn't say that it is a very good idea to put Kapton tape over this exposed board. Because whether or not that's supposed to come in contact with anything or not, it's a bad idea to just leave that all sitting out there flying in the wind. So we're going to put a little bit of Kapton tape on, partly because I'm compulsive, but also partly because it's just a good idea. A little bit more. A nice set of ceramic scissors never hurt either. Oop. Let's try that again. There we go. Now, I might actually want to make sure that it is covering the things one wants it to cover. There we go. So whether or not you technically need it, I would say it's prudent to do it. So we now have our fully constructed innards. We have our replacement front PCB, and that is going to go in the side there quite nicely. Fit your speaker in, because it is a bit of a bear to get off if you have it in weird or awkwardly once you start putting the screws in. And we got our Phillips heads for the board here. Still a bunch of them, but at the same time, not nearly as many as the DMG board has on its own traditionally. Just 6 instead of, 18. And one of the things I like about this RetroPixel board, and so again, whether you call it the RIPS V4 or the V3 with Super OSD, it requires you to cut nothing on the actual screw posts. Now, of course, that all being said, I just took a big chunk out of the front, so just ignore anything coming out of my hole. It's late. Okay, so we're going to fit these puppies back together. We are going to put in our battery. We are going to put on our screen lens, and then we are going to test. Now, oh, hey, there we go. There's one important detail. Now, you actually do have to connect your screen to the board. So that's a big important one. So that's one ribbon cable, and now we take care of the second ribbon cable. We have got our clean juice pack. You just want to make sure that both contacts are touching the battery contacts firmly when you put them in. then we've got, oh, I forgot about that. There we go. Kind of an essential piece. So, just do one last little disperse dust. Dispersed. And already managed to collect a fair amount of dust on there. Looks good now. And so we've got some of our last steps here. Seen this before. Sometimes the glass lenses just don't really want to fit. Just have to put it on a different way. Let's see how dust gets in again. Kidding. And now we got adhesive doing its thing here. Dust, 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 dust. Better. Okay, feels good. We got sound. Now I notice that this is slightly off center. So what you can do with the contrast wheel here, you press and hold. And you can actually move your positions. I thought that might be a thing. Yeah. So pixel effect, on and off. Battery display. Yeah. So that's essentially the OSD screen in a nutshell, guys. So we can go through and adjust. You know what? I'm gonna come back in a second. This is something I kind of forgot about. When you use it in the original shells, it's actually like it's compressing the button on the side. So you need to actually like widen that hole just a little bit because it's like really pushing on the wheel. So considering that button is all of your heavy lifting, we're gonna have to come back to that in a second. One sec. Okay, so there's not much good making a how-to if I don't show you what I'm doing. So this is the point of contention. This little tab here pushes in on the track wheel and compresses it so you can't actually do anything with it. So I'm really just going to remove that little bit. I don't want to hurt myself while you're watching, so I'm going to pull that back up a little bit. Well, I might still hurt myself, but you know, that's just me. There, I think I've removed enough. Just enough to be able to do what I need. Yeah, even when I press it down very hard, it spins now. So that is it. So for the future, angle the X-Acto knife away from you, and don't be a dummy. I have zero excuses. So let us try this again. How about some more of that clever thief music? Okay, here we are. I just replaced that screen because it clearly was slightly ill-fitted. So that's a pain, but thankfully I had an extra. Okay, so yeah, that is right off. So what we are going to do then is, now that we can actually use this contrast wheel button, so we can flip between palettes, right? That's just one of the many things we can do. So if you press and hold in, we can go to vertical and horizontal position. So we're going to move this thing over, horizontally speaking. And then we're going to go up to vertical, and we're going to move it down so it actually fits in that screen space. And then we can actually turn on the pixel effect, which is pretty darn cool. And then we can turn on the battery display up at the top. It's actually showing that this one is missing. So that is actually confirmation that the battery display actually works with the Clean Juice pack in the back there, which is pretty awesome. I think I need to adjust that vertical one a little more. Bit up. There we go. And then you can actually go to color adjust, and you can completely make and customize your own palettes, which I've actually done with my other OSD one. It's pretty sweet. So yeah, highly recommended. I just built my second kit. So if you can do this, do it. I'm going to grab my EverDrive and fiddle with this a little bit now. But it's actually pretty awesome to see this this in the original DMG shell, especially when it's a salvaged shell that would have kind of been garbage otherwise. So don't write on your Game Boys with Sharpie, people. Otherwise, this was a lot of fun. I'm really curious to see where the OSD line or the RIPS line goes from here, because once you can completely customize your color palettes, what else is left? Yeah, cool. Well, this has been another Primetime Funk Mod signing off.